Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Liberty Den here on Badlands Media. How are my co-hosts this evening doing?
Doing well. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Excellent. Doing well. Myself.
Good to see y'all, man. Good to see y'all. Great Friday night.
JJ, it's been a while, man.
I know. I've been out of town last couple of weeks, so good to be back here in the Liberty Den, and we'll all be seeing each other in about a week and a half, right?
Yep. Hey, Jay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you ever get out to the Salton Sea, or did you go to the Salton Sea when you were little before it was a crack den and a toxic waste dump?
I was going to say, yeah, it's seen better days. I don't think I want to go anywhere near there right now. But yeah, we used to go there as a kid. All those places out in the desert were pretty untapped, at the time. And now everything's kind of gotten really developed out there. We used to have a condo out in a place called Desert Hot Springs, which is just a little bit north of Palm Springs. And there was nothing out there, man. It was like the wild, wild west. It was just a desert. We had this little tiny, like 400 square foot condo. And then there was a golf course that was up against the hills. And I went out there a couple of years ago to check it out. And man, it is nothing but developed. There's houses everywhere. And then I saw these big, like, airport hangars, or what I thought were airport hangars. I'm like, what the hell is this? And they were actually, like, as I got closer, I saw the names on them where all had like 420 references and whatnot. They were like grow factories, basically.
Oh, okay.
Like a huge thing out there. And there's dispensaries on every corner now. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, Salton Sea, have you been out there?
No, I've never been there, but we talked, I can't remember if it was on Baseless Conspiracies that we talked about, or if Brad and I talked about it on Altered State, but it's, are you guys, John and Ghost, are you familiar?
I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so the Salton Sea is this area out in the middle of the desert that was essentially developed, and it was like a man-made lake, basically. And it was supposed to be this like desert oasis. It used to be a vacation destination. What this is, look, this is your husband basically here. I've got like tigers and it's red. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you there. And so it was this vacation destination for, during the mid 20th century. And then gradually over time, because of the buildup in agricultural in industry out in California, it got all of this runoff from fertilizer, and it got into the water, and it started killing off any of the fish or anything that was alive in it. And it basically became this cesspool. It was just this like nasty body of dead water with dead fish floating on it. And it became totally uninhabitable. And people that had property out there, they could no longer like use the water or go swimming in it. And basically, consequentially, it became like a hangout for druggies, and a lot of crystal meth cooking out there. And there's so many different abandoned properties, and people live out there, but also a lot of people get killed and never found again because it's so remote.
Yeah, and it smells like a cesspool too. It's really bad, but yeah, it's like Breaking Bad come to life out there.
Yeah.
Really?
So I know so much about this because, I mean, you do enough research to figure out how to get rid of a dead body, and you're going to come across see at a certain point.
Research.
Research.
Just in case. You never know.
Got a couple sponsors to get to, if you guys don't mind.
Okay.
Do it.
Can you stop talking about the drug dens for like 5 minutes so I can away from our sponsors quick?
Maybe.
If I can find it here. First up, we got River. River announces Bitcoin interest on cash. Now, US dollars in your River account will earn a high yield interest rate that can be paid in Bitcoin. With the price of groceries, mortgage, and tuition on a steep rise, people are now looking at a retirement age of 80 instead of 60. It's all because dollars are losing value at a record pace. The challenge is in finding a way to hold onto your dollar while it's still getting ahead. That's where River Bitcoin comes in. River Bitcoin's interest on cash protects your dollars with FDIC insurance while offering you the option to reap the potential gains of Bitcoin. For the past 2 years, you would have earned 2x the rate of most high-yield savings accounts and 16x the rate of the national average savings account with Bitcoin interest on cash. Get started at badlandsmedia.tv/river. Move your cash to River today and start earning a real interest rate paid in Bitcoin. Did you guys see the SEC dropped its lawsuit against Coinbase today?
I did not. but
Really?
that's
I did
awesome.
not see that. No.
How did you guys not see that?
How did I see it? I was working all day. Come on.
I just didn't see it, but that's pretty big news.
Did you watch Daily Herald, J Trick? Because if you did, that's how you saw it.
I do watch the Daily Herald every chance I get, John.
I had a bunch of appointments this morning, dude, so I missed the show. But
I was just kidding.
but hey, I actually found this interesting promotional film from the 1950s about the Salton Sea. So to be honest with you, the way that I heard about the Salton Sea is in 2002 there was a movie with Val Kilmer that came out called The Salton Sea. And I just dropped the link to that promotional video into the private chat, John. And it's like 20 minutes long. But I mean, I just thought maybe if you just throw it on for a second, it might be interesting. But
We'll watch the whole thing right now.
we'll take care of the content for the night.
We just killed some time here.
It's a really easy show last night, guys.
Yeah.
But so anyways, in the movie, he plays an undercover cop who is like, he's undercover as like a drug addict or something like that. Okay,
Ready?
1960, yes.
You'd think there was plenty of room here, wouldn't you, for all who needed room? That's what man thought in this city of open fields where land was easy to buy and inexpensive. But you're looking at a city as it looked only a few short years ago. The name of the city? Look at it today, Los Angeles. Families came to Los Angeles for the thousands, to settle, to bear and raise families, seeking room, space in which to live. And each year, a fresh population the size of that of Salt Lake City settles in the Los Angeles basin and gives the land still greater value. More people come, and up goes the value of land.
It was a
Oh,
simpler
Los
time.
Angeles, the future is...
What was that?
I said it was a simpler time.
Yeah,
this
it
is
definitely was.
before Los Angeles fell into its own hellhole.
What did they? Is this shot from like the moon or a space station or something?
Well, it looks like it's shot on maybe like 8 or 16 millimeter, probably from a helicopter in 1960, maybe 1959.
Yeah, it's from the elevator in Willy Wonka.
is here. The future is now. But people began finding conditions too crowded and seeking relaxation, pleasure, places in which to play. They pushed through the dense centers and out across the land and grows with people and construction into a swift future. Lots went begging here a few years ago at $100 each. Today,
Oh my God, $38,000 for a lot. It's so expensive.
Huge money, man.
What was that?
It's so expensive. $38,000 for a lot. Oh my gosh.
Yes. It's shocking numbers.
I'm sorry, I gotta watch it again.
go at $100 each. Today,
They said that they used to be $100 each. And then look, 38,000.
Wow.
Pay for
That,
this.
it's probably back to $100
So
now.
I'm dropping another link so that you can see what Salton Sea looks like essentially today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
If you
everything
want us
we
to-
just watched
Today, we're in Los Angeles County.
was that?
So that was back in 1960 when it was a thriving community with water you could actually swim in.
Okay.
Now it will literally melt your flesh.
Yes.
Okay, which part of the video should I go to? here?
Well, go forward a little bit until you start seeing wreckage and decay. Oh God, it looks like that's all that it is. Just
It's
an empty.
kind
rock.
of mostly dried up now. I
Yeah, that
think.
was pretty much the worst video I could have chosen. Sorry about that.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. This one looks better.
I'm not going to take your word for it. You didn't post the link.
I just figured that out as soon as I did it, and I had to go back and get a new one. There you go.
Such a process. Okay, here we go.
Formerly called California's Miracle in the Desert, the Salton Sea was once a picturesque desert oasis. The shores were lined with resorts, marinas, and recreational luxuries, with millions of tourists and locals alike flocking to soak up the rays along its water. In its brief time as a major tourist attraction, it saw many of Hollywood's elite upon the shores, attracting guests from far and wide to bask in the amenities offered by this so-called seaside paradise. And yet it now sits in rotten ruins. The abandoned hotels are little more than broken wooden frames along the Salton Sea. The beach is littered with the remnants of a time-long past. And today we will discover how things turned out this way, how such a luxurious wonder could turn into a toxic basin. I'm your host, Ryan Sokash, and you're watching It's History.
Is that how you say basin?
No, it's not how you say basin. This guy's a pretentious prick. I don't know anything about him. I literally just searched Salton Sea today just to see what I could come up with. But
full disclosure, this whole time I thought you were saying salt and sea. I didn't realize it was Salton.
Salton.
Like one
Salton.
word.
I thought the same thing goes.
Yeah, Salton.
okay.
Salton.
Like somehow you showed us 3 videos and you're 0 for 4.
Well, I think this one was pretty good there, Zach.
This was-
I am
see
curious
how
now.
shitty it became.
So it's like in the mid. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a big body of water.
It's just
huge.
past Palm Springs, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Past Palm
So that
Springs.
footage we were watching was footage of the lake. That wasn't footage of the ocean.
No, that was footage
No.
of the lake. Yeah, it's a
Wow,
large
gotcha.
inland body of water that really shouldn't exist. And I mean, it if it wasn't for all of the agricultural runoff that was basically poisoning it, then it might have been a good idea. Might have continued on.
Maybe
Is
we
it,
should play some of this
Zach, is
part.
it man-made or was it like a natural thing that they
I thought it was man-made, to be perfectly honest with you. But maybe there was like a natural body of water that just turned toxic because of the runoff.
I think that's what happened. I'm pretty sure it was natural, formed by like runoff from the Colorado River or something. But the water was salt water though. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was fresh water. That's why it was called the Salton Sea. But I don't know if the salt was just coming up from the desert or what. But
I think the salt is from the desert, but then I mean there's also
the toxins from everything else.
There's crystallization from all of that runoff. Like I mean there are like salt pillars there in certain places. And I see a lot of people in the chat are saying we used to water ski there when we were kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this. You guys are doing a great job explaining it, but we got this educational video here. Might help us out.
We're not better than the
is the most
educational video.
recent and perhaps most well-known body of water that once occupied this area, if not for its toxicity alone. It is by no means the only body of water that had inhabited this basin. Historical evidence suggests that the Colorado River has overflowed into the Salton Basin, referred to as the Colorado.
Why did he change the way he says basin? He said basin the first time, and now he's saying basin.
He, obviously, nobody is editing this for him, John, and he probably didn't watch it before putting it out.
What a douchebag.
A total amateur
desert.
move.
What was that?
Amateur move.
100%.
Like the
Throughout this-
Nevada thing.
Yeah. Which side of that debate is CanCon on again?
He's
I'm on-
Nevada.
He's with me. He says it the right way. Nevada.
Well,
It's not Nevada.
I think it's Nevada now.
Yeah. Well, Trump says it's Nevada. Trump called CanCon and I out, but I have to be principled and just stick to my guns and say it's definitely Nevada. So,
Dude, I'm a gringo, so I say it the gringo way, man. Nevada.
I'm just afraid of Ash, and I don't want to fall on the wrong side of any debate.
That's true. Where's Ash on that?
Yeah.
She's Nevada, right?
If
He-
Ash
he's
hears us
definitely Nevada.
mispronouncing
Definitely
any
Nevada.
state in the western portion of the United States, she's going to pop into this chat in any moment.
Yes, you will. Okay, let's keep playing, and then ignore her if she does.
Spanish period of California history, as well as multiple times in the past, creating numerous lakes that have fluctuated over the millennia. The first lake here, Lake Coahuila, formed in 700 AD when the Colorado River swelled to the Gulf of California, then north through 2 overflow channels. It occupied the basin until around 300 years ago, filling up and drying out 4 times over its lifespan. From 1824 to 1904, the Colorado River flooded the Salton Basin 8 times. For example, creating a salt lake in 1840 that was 3/4 of a mile long, and then another 30-mile long lake in 1891. The salt.
You know what?
Think
I'm
you're
starting. I'm starting to think that the reason I was thinking man-made is there something to do with the diversion of the water from the Colorado
Yeah.
River had
Yeah,
to
I
do
think-
with why it stagnated.
I think that's
Yeah.
exactly right. I think they filled it intentionally.
Mhm.
But it was obviously a natural basin that, or bassin, if you will, that jeez. Just to show my pretentious side. Yeah, I think they just knew they could fill it up. Probably filled it up and and turn it into a resort town and all that. But
Okay.
interesting.
Why are we talking about this again? Like,
Zero.
how did we get on this
You know
topic?
what?
Liberty
Oh,
Den. That's why.
Okay, yeah, it's because number one, it's Liberty Den. Number two, Jatriot has property in Palm Springs, and number three, the Salton Sea, you know, is out there in that generalized area. And I know that Jatriot is a big fan of crystal meth. So
I am a big fan. Huge fan. Actually, I
huge fan.
don't really like it. I just like the way it smells.
It is relevant though, because we kind of just saw in real time that like America really has become like a third world shithole.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Like in a lot of ways, America is kind of a third world country.
Well,
in
yeah.
so many ways.
No, like what I was just saying. I mean, as a kid, I had so many memories out there, and I go back to, the town we had our first little desert, oasis in, and it's like it's just nothing but like dispensaries and grow houses and stuff. No offense, CanCon. I mean, that's fine. It's just not something you want in the town you live in, necessarily. And then the Salton Sea is just a destination for crackheads now, and it's kind of sad to see your childhood memories kind of turn to shit. But that's California.
I feel like it's kind of it's apropos for like the modern age of blight and misuse of natural resources in California, right? Because I mean, it was an engineering marvel at one time, and it was pretty sweet. It was a problem that could have been avoided, but they just chose not to address it in a timely fashion. I mean, a lot like the Los Angeles fires. I mean, did you guys happen to hear that voicemail or that call today from Karen Bass?
Pulling that up right now.
Dude,
Oh, I didn't hear it. Anxious to hear it.
Is that your mic, Zach?
Yeah, that's my mic. I don't know I need a new mic cord, I think.
Okay, just hold for process and let me there's a specific clip I want to play because there's multiple different versions of it. But here, this one, I think. Yep. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, ready?
And just in terms of my trip, just so you know, I'm missing 2 work days. That's it. And if President Biden extends me an invitation, I took it. And hopefully you can read in between the lines. But I would just appreciate and it's hard for me to tell you this, but hold tight. You will understand soon.
This was before the fire, right?
Yeah, it was. It was a couple days before she left.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's about 2 minutes left of this, and I think we should play the whole thing because it gives a little more context.
Let's do it.
So
But the implication here is that she was hinting that something was coming before she went on her trip. And what did she know?
well, and she
When
also
no one-
implicates there that he needs to keep his mouth shut so that something doesn't happen to him.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Now, who do we know who she's talking to?
I mean, not yet, but there's only
Okay.
one person that she had this call with, and so I imagine
Right.
that
They
they're
know.
probably going to be coming out here very, very soon.
Okay.
The situation is very dangerous, and I would never do. I will take the criticism before I do a publicity stunt. And frankly, a press conference at this point in time would just be publicity.
I think
I don't
the
like.
neighbors,
Mhm.
the property owners,
Yeah.
and the residents. I mean, 41,000 people live within a square mile here.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
families share a 1-bedroom apartment.
But they want to hear that something is going to be done.
They want to know it's
And
recognized. But they
and
want to know
when.
it's recognized.
Exactly. But if I have a choice between that and compromising something, I just have to go along with it. It's not my area of expertise. I want to make sure that you are safe. And hopefully you can read in between the lines. But I would just appreciate and it's hard for me to tell you this, but hold tight. You will understand soon.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And when I am able to talk, I will be happy to go into great detail.
Okay. And you've got me on the street, and you're welcome to call me at any time. I'll call you right back.
No problem. And just in terms of my trip, just so you know, I'm missing 2 work days. That's it. And if President Biden extends me an invitation, I took it.
That's pretty incredible. I mean,
When
100%
did the
confirmation.
fire start? That was
Three,
January.
I think it was
The
3
ninth, I
days
think.
later.
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 days
Okay.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, I still would like more context. I would like the full phone call.
Yeah.
I think maybe they have it. I just
Well,
haven't seen it yet. But
It said they're talking about MacArthur Park. That's an area like just west of downtown LA that's really seedy. It used to be nice back in the 50s, speaking of the Salton Sea, and now it's just a drug haven and a shithole basically right on Wilshire Boulevard there.
Well, you guys know she just did that interview with a local affiliate news station, and she basically admitted that there was ample warning that these fires were coming, but she blamed the fact that she went to Ghana on the fire chief that she just fired for not impressing upon her enough that this was really that big of a danger. But in that call, it seems that she's aware, like they're asking, he's like, people want to have their fears addressed or whatever. And she's like, hey, it's not my expertise. I don't know enough about it. I'm going to Ghana anyways. But I mean, it's shocking when she literally tells that guy, basically shut up. And I hope you can read between the lines. And she's talking about how dangerous the situation is. Like, it sounds to me like she's threatening his life. And it's even more interesting given the story I just dropped in the chat, John, because there were a couple of different DEI fire officials. There's the one that she just fired. And then there's also this other one that is the subject of this article.
Is this the one that got murdered?
Yeah. Yeah.
he drives a Subaru.
It's the one who got
Definitely
murdered.
Subaru driving
Cocksucker.
fire chief. I heard they're going to make an actual hook and ladder, right from a Subaru in LA. It's going to be the new.
You're not going to make me read this, are you?
Well, I mean, I can read it if you want, if you go back to the beginning. All right. So wife is suspect in stabbing death of California fire captain who battled Eaton fire, officials say.
Wait, this woman's dead now?
She's dead. She was stabbed multiple times and her
Oh.
wife was not there.
What?
Yes,
Oh, and
her-
by the way, the left is trying to spin this that Donald Trump, by calling out the DEI hires in the fire department here, basically called for her to be murdered. And but this was a domestic violence issue. It had nothing to do with anything Donald Trump
It had
said.
nothing to do. Okay. Yeah,
I mean, well, but
this is
to
the
be
woman
fair-
who threw Karen Bass under the bus, right?
No. This is another one. That was the
okay,
fire chief.
okay.
This is a fire captain.
All
But-
these Subaru lesbians look the exact same to me. I'm sorry. I'm not
They
trying
do.
I'm not trying to be racist. But
You
these white women who are Subaru lesbians just all look the exact same to me. I'm sorry.
You have to remember them by the length of their hair. She's got guy hair. The other lady had, kind of a little ponytail in the back.
Gotcha. Okay.
But to be fair, we don't really know what this is about yet, because although the wife is the suspect and she is currently missing, we don't know what was going on in her head. We don't know, if perhaps there was something that drove her to do this. Maybe she was, it was initiated in some way.
You're right, but the subtext is that it's being investigated as a domestic violence issue, whereas the left is completely ignoring that point. They're just full blaming Donald Trump.
Well, I
and his
mean,
rhetoric for this, his violent rhetoric.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So the San Diego County Sheriff's Department announced Thursday that they believe Yolanda Marodi, also known as Yolanda, how do you say that? Oljanechekisek.
Not going to be living here soon anymore.
is responsible for killing her wife, Rebecca Marodi. The 49-year-old Cal fire captain was found dead Monday at a residence on Rancho Villa Road in Ramona. The suspect and the victim were married for just over 2 years, according to a sheriff's homicide investigator who cited family members. According to public records, the suspect and the victim shared the same address. The suspect, 53, is described as 5'2", about 166 pounds, and having brown hair, according to a sheriff's department news release. Olszynsk's current location is unknown. I'd like to see if they give us some stats on the California fire captain. Doesn't look like they did, but
Like, what do you mean?
oh God!
Like
Oh, she has a
size?
record. In 2003, she pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter after killing somebody else in 2000.
Jeez.
She was sentenced to 11 years. God, that's just like red flag, bro. Red flag.
Yeah, I don't mean to be giving like relationship advice to anyone, because I'm certainly, no one to throw stones, but really 11 years in prison for manslaughter, and you didn't see
Yeah.
this coming?
Yeah, I mean, at least Lisa was acquitted.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just kidding, babe. Lisa has never been accused of killing anyone.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not to-
Yeah,
She
yeah,
is
yeah.
later
There's still
tonight.
time.
She is marrying
The
you,
wedding
Zach.
is still a week and a half away. She still has plenty of time. Question: is that woman's last name? Is that a Polish last name or is that a Hispanic last name? I can't quite.
I mean,
decide.
it looks like Eastern European to me. Hold on. I will do a quick
So,
search.
It's got Olay. It starts with Olay. I think that's the next thing.
Okay, you're right. You're right. That is
Olay.
1 point of the Hispanic column. Although the
rest
the,
of the
the
all the,
CZAK is that's very
all the
Eastern European, so
multiple consonants in a row. That's,
You
that's
guys
pretty
don't
Eastern
know
Europe.
what
we
you're
need
talking
we
about.
need an etymologist. I think Burning Bright is an etymologist. I see him in the chat trolling.
Let's leave him in the chat though.
So
Give
I
him
kept
his opinion.
so I've got like my search window open on a different page on a different screen, and then every time I look back at the screen in front of me to like find the last name, that combination of letters just doesn't register as a name, and so every single time I'm unable to find it because it just looks like a random series of letters. I actually was able to find it, John. I was just trying to be funny.
Oh,
Okay, so what is the origin of the last name?
Is it Ukrainian? Please tell me it is.
Oh, that would be gold. Okay, so
Polish, I think.
yeah, it's Polish.
Yeah, Polish.
Mm.
Ding ding ding.
Derived from the Polish word olej, meaning oil, and the suffix nizhek, which is patronymic form indicating son of or a descendant of. So the descendants of oil. The name likely refers to an ancestral occupation related to oil production or trade.
Oil people.
Yeah,
So
which-
why they're trying to connect this to Trump?
Well, I mean, a lesbian's dead, John, and she was just attacked by a whole bunch of people who support President Trump. So it must have something to do with it.
Ah, yes.
I know I specifically,
That's what you're saying.
I openly wished for the murder of her by her lesbian wife openly on the show many, many times. I'll take
bro.
Never. Nobody did. I mean, if anything, likely it's a domestic case, but it's certainly interesting given the veiled threats of Karen Bass and
Yeah.
the fact that all of this stuff is going on there. I mean, stranger
remember
things have happened.
And remember the meeting between her and the fire chief, and she was supposed to fire her. Bass was supposed to fire the chief, but then she didn't, and they were all throwing blame at each other. Yeah, I don't know what this particular fire chief had anything to do with any of the decision making that was going on there, but it is something a little sus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Kinship Quest asks if it's referring to whale oil. I don't know if that's like a lesbian joke but I mean, there's no whales in Poland. that I
Blue-haired
know
land
of.
whale.
Well, according to Anchorman, San Diego, it means something in Spanish, right?
A
So
whale's vagina.
that's right. So
Mhm.
I think all these things are connected. I'm just connecting dots here.
San Diego.
So this phone call drops the day that Cash gets confirmed as the FBI director.
It might have been the day before.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting, though. So, like, Cash obviously has to run this down to the ground, right?
Maybe. I mean, it came from James O'Keefe. So
So
That's one of his. Was that one of his teasers? I saw the OMG thing. It was an OMG
yeah.
trader, I guess. But it's interesting that O'Keefe was even digging into Karen Bass a week before the fires. I mean, pretty timely.
He's got people everywhere. I don't know if he was digging into it or if somebody came to him as a source. I don't necessarily know if he sent somebody there to like get in line for that phone call. I don't know how he does this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's got people everywhere, but it is interesting that Bass was one of the targets.
Oh, you guys, guess what? Yolanda, that the other person she killed, it was another stabbing.
Of course.
So if only we could have seen this.
How could you
Rebecca might
predict
still
it?
be with us.
My God.
So confused.
I don't know what you're confused about.
Just how we got to talking about this of all things.
A lesbian is dead,
tangential.
and another Subaru just hit the CarMax.
Yeah, you guys always bring it back to lesbians and Subarus. Just every show, doesn't matter.
Hey,
Always comes full circle.
So can I just say that, like, after DPH on Wednesday, my mom texted me trolling me the next day because you were playing that lesbian video.
Oh yeah. Did I forget to play that for you on Monday, or did
You
I?
did forget to play it for me on Monday.
Oh.
Yeah.
do
Well,
you
then I
have
better
it?
pull it up.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the funny thing is that, like, when you played it on DPH, like, I was doing my after show stuff. And so I had the sound off, but I glanced over and I saw what you were doing. And I knew instantly that it was a personal dig.
Not bad, bro. Hold on.
John, I think I said to you about maybe a year ago, I found I literally saw a car in a parking lot. It was a lesbian and it had, a lesbian. It was a Subaru and it had personalized plates that said Lesbaru on them. And I was like, oh, sweet. They're acknowledging it.
Okay, so I don't know how to zoom in on Instagram. I don't know why this is just on Instagram, but whatever. We'll play it. The caption says, point of view, Subaru just released a new Forester.
Oh, that's great.
You know what's even funnier?
Typical Eagle fan.
Subaru just announced yesterday the release of a new Forester.
No way. You wouldn't know that.
I got an email from him.
Yeah.
That's a real deal.
I saw my email and I was like, oh, I got to tell John about that.
So
There's
thankful that
like
you did.
the dashboard in your Subaru like light up rainbow when there's like an alert being like a new model is out.
I think my favorite thing about this is your mom watches the DPH.
Based.
Of course she
Honored
does.
And humble.
Of course
That's
she does.
awesome.
Yeah. Your mom doesn't even know who I am.
No. Is that the weird guy with the Hawaiian shirt? No, my
Actually,
mom knows
I
who
mean,
you
that
are.
was a great zing right there. Your mom watches DPH. That's the punchline.
Oh, Burning Bright. Yeah, dude. This is the only thing I don't like about Subarus. The center console is shite. Like, I've been looking at ways to potentially, I don't know, put in like some kind of custom infotainment center so that I don't have to worry about the stuff that they put in there, because it does not work a lot of the time. It's like my biggest gripe.
Some sort of like transition surgery for the Subaru.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like basically I would transition it into like a freaking iPad or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be far superior.
You might have to
Remove
carve
part of
like a
it.
little bit from one part of it and then graft it to the other part in order to
Yeah.
give it the proper form, right?
Yeah, it essentially involves taking the existing dash and turning it inside out. And then
So it will.
It sounds too complicated, man. Just put a strap on. Just strap it on.
Jerry rig it, man.
Fucking Subarus.
oh
The
man.
Forester. Yeah, it's appropriately named too. It's probably a forest down there.
I hope it gets to the point like with the DEI stuff that Trump is doing. Maybe he'll just outright ban Subarus.
Dude,
You know-
did you see it? Did you see him go after the governor of Maine today?
Oh yeah, that was so good.
Oh, so good.
Dude, that is exactly what I voted for. I did not vote for a brighter future. I voted for Trump doing that. I want him to bully every single person in government until our government is based, honest, and patriotic.
And you know what was beautiful about that clip is when she says, "We'll see you in court," and he says, "Yeah, I welcome that. It'll be a really easy win." And it reminded me of what Ash has been saying a lot lately, is that she wants to see everything go to court, because then it clarifies the law, and so we'll get some resolution on this stuff. So there's no gray areas.
I'll play that clip.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Can't see it.
God, for the dunk.
Capitol Police, I'd like to report a murder.
Zach, we just did lawfare on Book of Trump. Like Trump
we did.
loves lawfare. But she said, "See you in
Big
court."
fan.
It's like, lady, you're an idiot. You don't know what you've done.
Oh God!
President Trump called her a he. Like repeatedly over and over again too. Like in a call, like he just kept calling because he was trolling her. He was just totally raking her over the coals.
What kind of car do you think she might drive?
I'd say she probably drives a Prius, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Trump is not trapped in here with you. You are trapped in this courtroom.
Right.
Right.
He's like Rorschach.
Yeah, man. We came this close. We came this close to Trump saying, "I am the law." He almost said, "I am the federal law," and he stopped himself and said, "We are the federal law." I wish he had just gone full bore and just said, "I am the federal law." That would have been a clip for the ages, man.
If Elon Musk and Ashley St. Clair had a baby, it would grow up to look like Maine's governor.
I was just going to show you pictures. I was joking, but I was also serious because it's so true.
It is true.
Doesn't that kind of look like Elon Musk?
It does.
I'm not seeing it.
The mouth a little bit. No, I 100% see. Elon does that frown face all the time.
He does. Yeah. He does. Yeah. Have you guys seen that? There's like a public spat between Grimes and Elon about another one of their children. Apparently, there's a medical emergency going on with another child that he has with her, and he won't respond to her or respond to her lawyers. And so she's taken to X to like publicly like reply to him on things that he comments on and says, and he said like, you need to reply to me because our child is going to die if you don't, basically over and over again. And he's going in and deleting her posts so that people can't see them. It is kind of scummy. I don't know what the hell's going on, but doesn't seem right.
Dude, baby mama drama with Elon, man.
I don't know what he's doing, dude. Like, why?
Okay, I want to show you guys. Hold on. Hold for processing.
Ashley St. Clair is really not that pretty. She's like one of those girls that like looks good in a certain light, or maybe with filters. And then when you get a look at her when it's nice and bright out, it's not the same.
Have you met her in person?
No, but I just saw a number of interviews with her that I was like, once she was identified as the mother of Elon Musk's baby, I was like, who is this woman? Gotcha. And what does she stand for? Like, I thought there must be a reason Elon Musk chose to have a baby with this woman. And so far, I can't find a redeeming quality.
Weren't they saying something like they did it like in vitro or something?
No, that was a fake post.
Yeah, it was a fake post. Okay, I just thought
fake news. But I only asked Zach because you're an OG and you've been around the block, so I thought maybe,
What I do know about her is that when she started out as kind of like an OnlyFans girl, she had this account called Sexy Laptop during like the first Trump administration.
As one does.
And I did find a clip of her basically complaining about conservatives, saying like
that on the Liberty Den or the Power Hour.
That clip where she's complaining about people complaining about the border.
Yep.
And like I was like, wow, you're out of touch. Like you have no idea what you're talking about.
Sexy Laptop, man, that's awfully prolific.
I believe it was like SEXII
or prophetic. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't understand. For as intelligent as Elon is supposed to be, it's like just about the dumbest thing you can do.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Many such cases. Like that is like the story of the downfall of men.
Yeah,
I'm more so concerned about his social media activity. Like that's kind of lame if he's just removing posts he doesn't like whenever he wants off of the platform.
Yeah,
I mean, like why else buy Twitter, dude?
But I mean, but also like if we're looking at this
If
from
not
a
to just censor
like
your
if we're
baby
looking at this
mama.
from a purely info war like objective standpoint, if that narrative is being deployed, then that just like with the Kanye posting porn thing, it's like the net effect of that is nipping all that in the butt and cleaning all that up, so that is directly addressed, which would require cracking open the code and getting like to the bottom of all that stuff, right? I mean,
that's if that happens.
If that
If
happens,
that's
I mean, if
happened
that happens,
because of
yeah.
this, then
It's
yeah,
a big leap at this time.
It is a big leap.
But that's
yeah.
like one of those trust the plan things, you know.
For
And
sure.
I'm not willing to do that. I mean, that's not that I don't trust things are going on, but you still got to talk and advocate for.
On the surface, it's
Yeah.
100% scummy. Yep, on the surface, 100% scummy.
And let's also be honest. I mean, for the people who are out there like posting links to their OnlyFans and naked videos and stuff,
J-Trip, pay attention.
all of them are probably like premium and premium plus members. So not only are they paying X the revenue to have the check mark, but they're also bringing eyes to those accounts. And so they are creating ad revenue for X. I mean, there's always been porn on X and it's out there. Like, I mean, and there are people like that's the only like, hey, remember when Ted Cruz got caught years ago? He thought he was on his alt account, but he was on his US Senate account and he liked a bunch of porn. And then
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that too. That was so good.
Hold on.
There's so many people, there have been so many instances of people having alt accounts and screwing up in that way. Like not necessarily liking porn, but like they get caught manipulating or gaming the system. Like they'll forget to log into their other account and then they reply to themselves in like the tone of a different personality, but it's actually the same freaking account. And it just happens over and over again. I mean, like, just be real. Like, that's all that it requires.
By the way, we have some word police in the chat that want to point out, Gordon, that it's nipping it in the bud, not butt.
No, I clarified that I said what
might
I
have been
meant.
a Freudian slip. I like it nipping in the butt.
I meant
better.
what I said, and I said what I meant.
Good.
Dude, like one of the things that blew my mind though, when you read like ancient Greek stories and stuff, like that is what it is about. It's about baby mama drama. It's about queens being hoes and like that kind of stuff. I mean, it's wild that is what is at the core of like civilizations falling apart, is like a queen being like, hey bodyguard, I want you to watch me and my husband together, and then taking that situation and leveraging it against the king to get him murdered. That kind of stuff happened 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. It's wild.
Well, I mean,
books are you reading, Ghost?
The Histories by Herodotus. It's like one of the oldest books ever written. But yeah, that's what was happening.
I mean, life was a lot simpler back then. I mean, it was just expansion of the empire, continuing to sow your genetic material, and you're going off to war. So, I mean, you probably might not even come back to have to worry about whether or not there's a kid. So,
Would you go back to that time period if you had the opportunity?
Absolutely. I
Like,
mean, not for that reason, but like, I would love to travel in time. And I would absolutely love to go back to some like, ancient, higher system of civilization. And
Let me clarify. Let me clarify, because that time travel would be great. But I'm saying, like, if you had the choice, you could either continue living on this timeline where we're at now, or you could go back and live out the rest of your days in whatever time period Gordon was just talking about. Which would you do?
Oh, geez. I mean, I guess I would probably stay here, because being forced to go back to that time and also like not speaking Greek or anything else, it would be very difficult for me to get along.
Okay, if Lisa wasn't watching, how would you?
No. If Lisa wasn't watching, I still don't speak Greek or Aramaic or any of the ancient languages.
That's not, you're being unimaginative.
Okay, so you're saying that I could go back in time? Would I still have access to like modern?
Anytime period, and then assume that you're like, you would know the language, like that wouldn't be a barrier. Like you would have the knowledge of the culture and the language, like dismiss that stuff.
So I have like a stable neural link implant that would allow me to automatically decode anybody's language. And
I'm just being like, are you cool with where you're growing up now, or do you wish you grew up in a different time period?
I would be comfortable going back to a simpler time. I don't know how far back I would necessarily want to go. I guess I feel like I wouldn't want to make that commitment without having the ability to, perhaps experience it for a little time. But let's say like some destiny of the fates. I am instantly transported without any sort of choice in the matter. And I'm tossed back into ancient Rome or ancient Greece or Atlantis. Freak, that would be sweet, dude. But if that were to happen, then I would survive and I would likely thrive. I would figure it out and I would be happy about it because I couldn't control it.
10 years ago, I would have been a lot more eager, like to explore those ideas. But now, dude, like we are definitely living in the greatest timeline of ever. So I would say this timeline is where it's at.
And Lincoln is absolutely correct. This is something Lisa and I mention every single time we watch a period piece. That is the worst thing that I could imagine. Just a throng of sweaty, stinky bodies.
Yeah. Although some places did actually have like lye where they were making soap.
Sure, some places,
Some
but
places where wherever they were doing a lot of animal sacrifice, they had soap.
Yeah, the clothes were very clean as long as they went low enough in the river too.
I'm starting to wonder, did Elon Musk get rid of the like feature where you can see people's likes because of Ted Cruz? Was that like legislation or something?
No, I don't think it was because I think it was because you could go and spy on what people were liking, because there was a lot of left-wing media that would go and look and be like, oh my God, look, they liked this edgy joke about, a guy using a Sharpie on his upper lip or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean,
weird.
I think it would be totally fascinating. I mean, if I could choose to go back in time and leave this world behind, I mean, if I had nobody else here, then, I might choose to do it. But I don't know that I would like to just like throw myself into that position, throwing caution to the wind. But if I was there and I had to be, I would be able to do it.
I do think it would be interesting living in a time before the internet, like way before the internet.
Oh, like when I was a kid.
Like
I'm like, wait, you're talking about my childhood, bro.
Yeah.
You're talking about even into my adulthood, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think it'd be, I don't know, simpler
It was,
times.
you know what? I will tell you, growing up in the 80s, it was nice. It was a simpler time. You get on your bike and you ride down to the mall and you look for girls, and there was no hazing online. There was none of that stuff. I mean, there were bullies and all that stuff, but nothing, just like old school, and not anything you had to worry about beyond your home. Like you would call your friends on the telephone to talk, and it was amazing.
Yeah. I used to have a telephone cord that was like 25 feet long.
Right.
Because the phone was in the other room and I lived in the basement, and then I could take the phone all the way to my bed.
That's right. Because you had to have your privacy. Yeah.
The old school phones where you could like beat somebody with it and it would do some serious damage. And when I was what time
Lisa's in the
period?
chat, dude. She's telling you have permission to get into the phone booth and fly away with Bill and Ted, man. Like
I honestly like, if I would want to go back to probably, antediluvian, pre-recorded time. Okay. Like I would want to go back further than allegedly humanity existed, because I think that we have had a series of resets on planet Earth. And and so I would like to go back much earlier.
You want to get that far away from Lisa, huh? That's
it's not to
crazy.
get away from Lisa. It's purely scientific curiosity, intellectual curiosity. But I mean, like, there have been so many, like, John, we did a show on Baseless Conspiracies about out of place artifacts.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there have been so many instances of, like, seemingly advanced technology that has been found in like veins of coal. Okay. Like deep in the earth. Like there's no way to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like the idea of Tartaria. Okay.
That'd be cool.
That city that's off the coast of Japan, that's like deep in the ocean.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That is carved out of like one giant mountain. I mean, that thing, and it's hundreds of feet under the water. I mean, there's no way that thing is less than tens of thousands of years old.
Yep. Yeah.
Probably less than that.
And Matrix, I think you're right. Yeah, Genesis is a reset story. I think so too. I mean, like, if there was a reset and then we began recording human history from that point forward, I mean, if we had a complete total loss of all knowledge up until that point, then, I mean, we would only write what we knew. And I think the same thing would happen today. Like if we had like a thermonuclear war, something catastrophic happens, there's also like a major tidal wave or an asteroid hits, like allegedly it's supposed to in 2035, and all human information is destroyed. The internet goes away. Nobody has freaking books anymore. Probably us, well, maybe me and Jay and Ghost. I don't know that you own any books, John. You don't talk about books, but
Books in my backpack.
Yeah.
Magazines don't count.
Those are textbooks from your GED class.
There we go. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. All right.
Yeah,
I like
that,
it.
that looks like an interesting book.
That definitely looks like an interesting.
Yeah,
book.
here I'll show you my favorite chapter here.
So anyways, let's, a lot of people out there don't have books. A lot of people don't read. All right. A lot of people grew up never reading. The only thing that they have is the internet. If the internet goes away, then, the history collectively of humanity will disappear if the right people are killed at the same time.
But technically, isn't the internet reading though?
It is reading. But what I'm saying is if there's no electricity, if there's no infrastructure, if there's no computers, then all of that just disappears.
Yeah. It makes it a whole lot easier. Right. And also too, like, with the schools now not teaching cursive, I don't know if it's everywhere, but certainly here, they don't teach kids how to read and write cursive anymore. So all the founding fathers documents and everything are all in cursive, and the kids have no idea what it says. So I think it's part of that communist subversion to try to dumb down the kids so they don't, they can hide real history from them.
When did they stop doing cursive? I think the Catholic schools my kids go to still do it.
Yeah, well, at least the Catholics are trying, it seems like. But I think that they quit doing cursive sometime in the last 20 years. Yeah. I don't remember if my daughter had to do cursive writing.
We did cursive. That would have been the 90s. So they're doing cursive in the 90s.
I definitely did in the 80s and the 90s as well. But so anyways, like let's say that there's another great reset and humanity has a large portion of it wiped out, and there's a change to international boundaries. I'll tell you what, one place that I would definitely, I know that I would like to go is, are you guys familiar with the Eye of Rashat, I think it's called?
Yeah. Africa.
Yes, in Africa. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's basic. I'm convinced it's Atlantis. Okay. Yeah. And there is signs that there was a massive tidal wave. I would imagine it probably happened as a result of an asteroid impact. And the entire area was just washed over. The description of Atlantis, which it's
Plato.
Yeah, Plato. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was like a city that was made of concentric rings, and I believe it was like 5 or 7. I don't remember exactly. And you look at the Eye of Rashat, and it's exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And there is there's evidence of pottery, and yes, there you go. Look at that. This thing is so huge.
Is this on land or underwater?
You can see it from a mile up. You can see it.
Yeah. So,
but you could picture water in between those rings.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and we know that there has been, geological changes happening. I mean, there's evidence that Antarctica at one time wasn't icy, that there was life there. People,
you know what this reminds me of is this thing.
Yeah. I knew
the butthole sculpture.
Yeah. The limestone butthole.
Yep. AIDS memorial.
I look for it every time I'm in Palm Springs. It's still not there. They must have killed that after we ruined it on Liberty Den.
Yeah. All right. So the Eye of Rashat is in the Sahara Desert. I think it's in Mauritania. It's a barren wasteland. Nobody lives out there. There are some Bedouin tribes, but yeah, they try to say that this is a natural geological phenomenon.
No way.
And there's absolutely no way. It's no.
That thing looks like it got glassed. I mean, look at that. I mean, that looks like it's like glass or something. And whatever happened to Atlantis, and I mean, the evidence from a literary standpoint of Atlantis being real is there, because you have all these different historians from different parts of the world who are all talking about it in their writing, and as if it's a real place.
Yeah.
whatever happened to it, it was definitely a technology that seems like that
Mhm.
that destroyed it for sure.
Yeah, and you saw that like plateau, the shelf behind it. Atlantis is described as being protected on these sides by mountains. Okay, that's exactly what it was. If you take away all this sand, I mean, this is a completely different thing. Plus, over the years, it's eroded. I mean, this is tens of thousands of years ago that we're probably talking about. I mean, this is very, very old here.
You don't think it's possible though that this was natural?
Anything is possible, John. I find it improbable.
But you think it's more likely to be Atlantis than
I think it's more likely to be Atlantis. Yes.
I don't know if I mean, I don't know if this is Atlantis, but it's a very plausible theory that it's Atlantis. I mean, Atlantis certainly existed outside of Gibraltar, so it would have been either an island out in the Atlantic Ocean, or it would have been something like this in Western Africa, this is on like the west coast of Africa, so it's right in the geographic area where they describe.
I was just going to ask that because I know it's like beyond the pillars of Gibraltar and all that. So
yeah, and if you look at Tenochtitlan, I think is how you pronounce it. It's ancient Mexico City. So if you go look up Mexico City, modern day Mexico City, the ancient Mexico City, which is 500 years ago, when the Spanish showed up there, it was this very, very advanced. It was more advanced than any city in Europe. It was very sophisticated. It was an island in the middle of this giant lake, and there are like super long bridges that led to it. All the buildings were made out of gold. The buildings were laid out so they had it was laid out like a computer chip. They had like running water. They had multi-story apartments. They had very, very advanced, sophisticated urban planning, city lighting, like at night. Like they had not electricity, but they had the equivalent of like lampposts. The Spanish were like blown away. They're like, "Holy crap! This is way more sophisticated and advanced than anything we've seen."
Okay. Why are you on Wikipedia, bro?
I just want you guys to know that you guys are fringe theory conspiracy theorists right here.
I'm going to drop a playlist in here. It's from this guy, Jimmy Corsetti. He's got a channel called Bright Insight, and he's got like the best series of videos doing deep dives and present. As far as I'm aware, he is the first person to come forward and present this as a theory. And he goes into an incredible amount of detail. And how would you
rate these videos to the videos you showed us earlier about the Sultan?
Well, I never saw those videos. I just like pulled them up on a whim. So I would rate Jimmy Corsetti and Bright Insight a 10 out of 10. Ooh. And I would put those videos at, the first one, it was a solid 1. The one that had the slightly better historical film, I'd say that's maybe a 6.
Actually exist, but its true location has been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years, completely unnoticed, as we've been looking in all the wrong places for its.
I feel like he drives a Subaru too. I don't know why.
Fair guess.
Interesting. Okay, I'll check it out.
So I followed Jimmy for years, like long time. And he actually followed me on Freaking X, but like he won't answer my DMs because he's one of he's going on Joe Rogan and stuff, so he doesn't have time for little old me.
Land.
I would love to have him on to talk about this though. It's something that I've always wanted to do a show on.
Well, guys, we can make Zach's dreams come true maybe by helping. We got to take what's this guy's name on Twitter?
Bright Insight.
Insight.
But then if people go spamming him, he's going to be like, "Who's that? Who's this asshole sending his followers to come?"
Everybody go comments. Pester him right now.
Zach Payne sent me.
Oh, so funny.
He's obsessed with you, and he wants you.
He's still talking about you.
Let's see what else is going on.
He wants to drive Subarus with you.
Oh, did you guys see Raising Cane is the new chairman of the Joint?
Yes. So good. Dude,
we're going to go pretty in depth on this in the Power Hour tomorrow, but whenever Trump tells that Afghanistan story with the lights on the plane going off and everything, that's the Raising Cane story. Yep. Worth listening.
Yep. It's a Trumpomania proof, man, because he's built this character up for the longest time. And now we get to finally meet this character that he's like a legend, like Trump has told this story so many times.
He just told it the other day when he was on stage at that.
Yeah. At the Miami, the Saudi thing in Miami is when he told it.
It was like the IFF or IIF, something like that. I can't remember what the
FII, the Future
FII.
Investment Initiative.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. But Raising Cane, man, white guy. I always in my head just pictured a black guy. I've said this before, and y'all call me
That
racist.
is so racist.
I know, but I just pictured him being. I don't know why. I pictured him being. There's a character actor from the '90s. Talk amongst yourself. I'll find this guy, but I just pictured him, the character actor, being Raising Cane. So let me find this guy.
Hold on. I know exactly what you're talking about.
He plays like a Pentagon general in every single movie in the 90s. I forget what the guy's name is, but I will find it.
Okay, there you go.
Is he a black guy or is he a white guy?
Yeah,
Black guy?
Yeah, he's a brother. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of think I know who you're talking about too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure this guy Raising Cane said he was going to take out ISIS in like a month. Like he had a plan for Trump. And this was like a story back in, I want to say September or something. I'm trying to find it now. Yeah, this pic's exciting.
Here's something interesting that I've been tracking for a while. Are you guys familiar with those non-humanoid bodies that were discovered in the Atacama Desert down in Peru?
No.
Oh, was that the one was this a while back? Or is
Well,
this
I mean, they've been discovered quite a while ago, but
Yeah.
they've been the government and a team of scientists have been investigating them for quite some time, doing like MRIs and CAT scans and physical examinations.
Something new came out on that, or
Yeah, they were officially declared by the Peruvian government to not be human, to be something else, non-humanoid entities. And of course, they're largely talked about in like the UFO and alien disclosure community. But
were those the bodies that who's the famous investigator from Mexico?
Jaime,
yeah.
Jaime was supposed to be on my freaking show.
Really?
And was like very responsive, and then like on the day of the show, totally ghosted me. And I was like, sometimes people will like, just not answer. And then like, at like, 9:01, they'll pop in to the Zoom call.
Yeah.
But he never did. And he never responded to me ever again.
Oh man. That would have been a
Kind of
great
lame.
conversation.
It would have been. Yeah, it would have been.
Are these those bodies though that he
It's
he
the
was
same bodies. Yeah,
same bodies. Okay, because he caught a lot of flack for that. And I know there's been some questionable stuff that he's pushed out there, but he was pretty much dying on that hill with those bodies. And interesting that they have determined them to be non-human.
Yeah. All right, John. I'm please share my screen. This guy, Keith David, is his name. And
Keith David from The Thing.
Yeah, he played that role right there in like every single movie in the 90s. And he has a very distinct voice. And he's always saying, I have to go tell, like, he's always like saying, I have to go tell the president this.
Is this Armageddon or is this
this is Armageddon?
Independence Day.
This is Armageddon. This scene right here is from Armageddon, but all of those movies, I'm sure he probably is in every single movie you just listed.
And they just keep them in the same uniform.
And they just keep them in the same uniform, and they dust them off, and they roll them out, and they're like, that voice. It's very
Get me Keith David.
So whenever Trump told the Raising Cane story, I always just pictured Keith David being Raising Cane. I mean, but that's Raising Cane. And you know what? He's probably an even bigger badass than Keith David. So
put some blackface on him, and it's him.
Yeah. Sorry, General Cane. Mr. Cane,
Lieutenant General.
Disrespect. Don't mean disrespect. So,
I am curious how this is going to go through, though, because don't they serve in that term, like as the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff for like 3 years, at least 4 years, or is it longer than that?
I think they serve at the pleasure of the president. I mean,
they do, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that old cliche.
Is this also does he need to be confirmed? Is that one of those?
I don't think so.
Is this just somebody he can name?
Because this is a military thing.
Okay.
I think I don't remember Milley having a confirmation, but I honestly have no idea.
I don't think so either. But it would make sense if he's the commander in chief. He should be able to put anybody in whatever position within the military, right?
Yeah.
And it's an advisory role of chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So he's not in the chain of command then.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's the part where Milley got in trouble. The thing I'm
Right.
struggling with, if I'm being totally honest a little bit, is a lot of people told me that Charles Q part, it was like a Q proof because his middle name is Q. So what does this mean now?
Wait. His middle name is Q?
Charles, the old one.
Oh.
The guy that just got fired?
Yes.
Well,
I mean, what kind of a proof is that?
Doesn't seem like a Q proof. to
Getting
me.
rid of Q?
Yeah, no. I think the proof is we now get a new character, like a legend, as far as I'm concerned. This mythology that Trump has told us for so many years, we finally get him in action in a very, very significant position.
Yeah,
that's the proof.
But yeah, this guy is. But never mind. I'm gonna drop it.
Yeah. Well, that's John. It's like the 17s everywhere kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's,
Grasping, right? Just
yeah.
grasping.
I mean, some of those may be legit, but some of them probably aren't. And that took me, a guy with a Q for a middle name isn't any proof of anything.
Stormy and Abs though, like crush that. Like, Stormy's been texting me for the past week or two, all this stuff. And
About Raising Cain?
Not about Raising Cain, but about like the Munich stuff, the plane stuff. And I mean, dude, he crushes that stuff. He crushes.
Oh yeah, no, and
he crushes those signals. But yeah, I feel like if you go out there in the world, there's a lot of grasping at straws.
I mean, it's like there's so much of it. Yeah.
And like I said, some of it might actually be legit. Some of it probably isn't. And I don't fault anyone for trying to make those connections. I don't think anybody's saying this is absolutely what this means. Or, well, there are people that do say that, but but then there's other people that just say, look, they're just like Stormy Joe and Abs just say, look, we're just presenting to you what we see, and you make of it what you will. I sort of appreciate that approach.
I do too. But we need to figure out a way to discuss this. I want to get on a panel with him at GART.
Yeah.
With Ernie Hudson?
What?
With Ernie Hudson?
Ernie Hudson. Who's Ernie Hudson?
No, I'm sorry, not Ernie Hudson. Keith David.
Keith David, dude. I would love if Keith David came. If Keith David came and he was able to. Okay. Ernie Hudson would be another one of those people who has that very distinct look. As I'm looking at him right now,
Somebody in the chat said, "I thought you were talking about Ernie Hudson."
Yeah,
and he was the fourth Ghostbuster in Ghostbusters. And when the mayor was chewing them out, he was like, "Come on, man! I only work for these guys."
Yeah.
Like he wasn't actually a Ghostbuster; he was an employee.
Yeah, this is Ernie Hudson, but he has that same high and tight with the mustache. So he has that. It's a very distinct military look, So
he's like, when you need Keith David, but you maybe you want him to be nicer.
He's like a poor man's Keith David.
Well, Keith David has the voice, man. His voice is like very distinct. So
it's like,
have you guys ever seen The Thing?
Character.
Have you seen
The Thing? Is a great movie. That is
good.
I don't think I've ever seen The Thing.
Oh God, Ghost!
So
you got to watch The Thing with.
I don't think I have either.
Oh my God!
Is that
Kurt Russell and Keith
David?
David?
Kurt Russell. Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
There's the two of them.
Whoa.
Yeah. Keith David's on the right, correct?
Yeah. No,
I'm
Keith
not
David's,
sure.
Keith David's on the left. Ernie Hudson's on the right.
Yeah, Keith David on the right. Yeah, for sure. Gets Keith David on the right. Very distinct. That's the general. That's my general right there.
That's your Raising Cain.
4-star suit, and he will play Raising Cain, and we won't make a big deal out of it. But
you guys want to see something?
When we make the movie, we'll cast him as Raising Cain.
Do you think Ernie Hudson's like asking him, like, can you stop going for the same roles I'm going for, man? I need to get a job.
This is just how big of a dork I am. I have.
Yes. Beautiful. The action figures.
So what is the premise of that movie? Because that's the Antarctica movie, right?
Yeah,
I'm about to play the trailer.
They're in Antarctica, and Kurt Russell plays a guy named McCready, and he's kind of the hero along with Keith David.
Oh, spoiler alert a little bit there.
Here we go.
This is U.S. Station 31. You read me? We found something in the ice. We need some help down here. Can anybody hear me? We found found something. Found something. We found something.
They spent 40 seconds of the trailer just putting the word together. Think of this happening in any modern trailer ever. It wouldn't happen.
No,
It wouldn't
Attention
happen.
spans are way too short now.
Yeah.
12 men have just discovered something. For 100,000 years, it was buried in the snow and ice. Now it has found a place to live. Inside. Where no one can see it, or hear it, or feel it.
I know I'm human. Some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
You guys gonna listen to Gary? He can beat one of those things!
Nice.
It's one of the scariest, most suspenseful movies of the 80s. And this guy,
John Carpenter, so I'm sold on that. I'll definitely check that out.
and this guy Rob Bottin did the effects. My cousin, when I was growing up, he was like a special effects like makeup artist, and so I saw so many films like this when I was a kid, and he taught me so much about special effects, and like the stuff they did on this film was revolutionary. Poor man's Predator. It came out before Predator.
That's actually it's a great line there. I was gonna say the trifecta for those other two, Keith David and Ernie Hudson. The third guy in that, like, they all kind of look alike, would be Carl Weathers in the Predator. So you could throw Carl Weathers in there, which is a great name also. But
Real Red Pill Girlfriend
And he was
says
in
it looks
Predator.
terrible, by the way.
Lisa does
just knife in the back.
I agree with her.
Oh my god.
So it's really good.
So there was a film in the 50s that came out called The Thing from Outer Space, which has like roughly the same plot, but of course it's in the 1950s and it was nowhere near as suspenseful or scary. John Carpenter was like the master of horror in the 1980s. Did so many good movies. And but the thing
from another world.
The Thing from Another World, The Thing from Outer Space. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it's something like that. And there we go. The Thing from Another World. Yeah.
That thing's alive, sir. I saw it. I shot at it. I hit it. I know it. Nothing happened. It just kept coming at me, making a noise like a cat doing. Kevin, it was awful. You could see those hands and those eyes. You've got to do something about it. You've got.
Is it human or inhuman? Earthly or unearthly? Baffling questions, astounding questions that not even the world's greatest scientific minds can answer.
Gentlemen, do you realize what we've found? A being from another world, as different from us as one pole from the other. We can only communicate with it.
Yeah, this looks far superior than the trailer you showed.
Not
Yes,
even Dr.
same exact
Fauci
plot.
can identify it.
So
Same
what I think is really cool, actually, that they like that initial, like, you know, the thing that they showed, they actually used that same like font in the later one. And there's even like another one that came out in the 2000s, which they weren't very clear about. But when you watch it, you realize that it's actually a prequel to the John Carpenter movie, but it's not nearly as good.
Well, I got that one here too.
48 hours ago, we found something quite remarkable.
What'd they find?
There's a structure
In Antarctica.
and a specimen.
Really?
Touching down.
This is Kate Lloyd's, Columbia.
This one's the prequel?
Yeah, this is actually a prequel. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we don't have to watch the whole thing.
I think it's still worth watching. I mean, if you're a fan of the thing, but
we can watch the thing. It's on. We'll watch it.
This is Kate Lloyd, Columbia Paleontology.
Let me show you why you flew 10,000 miles. We estimate it's been here 100,000 years.
I'm going to take a tissue sample.
Do you really think that's a good idea?
Yes, I do. You, my friends, will all be immortalized as the people who made this discovery.
Probably a bad idea.
Yep.
My God.
Somebody was attacked.
But it seems everyone is fine.
Either someone miraculously healed themselves, or someone is not who they say they are.
What was it doing to him?
It's imitating his cells. I think this thing copies its prey and then hides inside it. What are you saying? Not all of us are human. It could be any of us. We can't let this thing leave. If it makes it out of here, millions of people could die.
True, what are you doing? So so basically they took everything they did in the one from 82 and then they updated it with, modern special effects. My only complaint about this is that it's just kind of derivative, and it could have been a much better film, but
there's nothing more pretentious than saying something is derivative.
Well,
Other than saying
the same
Bassin.
movie. Is that not the same movie as the Kurt Russell one?
Yeah, it's almost the same movie. Like
It's
it
a
could have
remake,
been-
isn't it? Basically, or
No,
is it
that's
a prequel?
the thing. It's not a remake. Like it's actually meant to be a prequel.
Okay,
and,
okay. So it's
and you
not
don't
like
realize
scene for
that.
scene.
You find it out, eventually. And they were cagey about it. I mean, it could have been a better movie. But this is the problem: is that there are basically no original ideas. Like in the modern film scene, basically, like they only know how to rehash and remake, and they just keep coming back with the same tired old schlock, and so it's all about franchises.
I think some of the best horror movies, or what makes a good horror movie, is if there's a possibility of it actually being true. And Antarctica to me is fascinating. I know you guys have done shows on Antarctica, and what might be like buried there is, we were talking about ancient civilizations before. Man, that would be some interesting thing to go back in time to where Antarctica was before it was covered in ice.
Yeah.
So the thought that there could be some life form buried.
Thanks, Lisa.
I'm hitting the dislike. Sweet, yeah. This conversation probably
we should
deserves it, but-
we should crowdfund an expedition to Antarctica, and we should have Patrick narrate. Like Patrick should be the lead man on camera, like a documentary, and he should narrate the entire thing. Because I feel like he needs to be the one to tell us, go put his hand on Antarctica. Is it an ice wall? Is it a continent?
Yes.
Are there other beings there? Is there a hole going to the center of the earth? Like whatever it is that's happening there, Patrick should be the one telling us.
We have we have an offer if things go well, Quast is going to take Patrick to space.
Oh my God! Please,
yes, film it, film it, live
It'd
stream
be
it.
so good.
So
there was a guy. I don't know if you saw this guy that he's a
All in on that.
a global, or a round earther, and he took a group of flat earthers down to Antarctica. He got special permission to get down
I saw
there.
that.
And they were looking at the way the stars rotate, and it's the opposite of in the Arctic. So it's sort of like one of their big arguments, I guess. And he kind of disproved it to them. And one of the flat earthers was like, okay, yeah, you guys are right.
Yeah,
And that was kinda the end
there
of it.
was a number of experiments that they were like,
Yeah.
it didn't happen the way that they said it should, and so they were like, we're wrong. Now the reason I put that up on there from Leah, the fall guy pissed me off, is because ironically enough, someone minutes ago suggested that I need to watch Fall Guy, that it was actually a really good movie.
I bet it's their homework for Story Hour.
Oh, okay.
I bet that's the movie they have this week. If I was a guessing man or a betting man. But yeah, guys, would you be all right closing it down for me if I duck out a little early
man.
tonight?
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
All right.
For sure.
I don't actually have
Enjoy yourself.
I don't have the rants.
I just have the chat scroll. Does anybody have the chat open?
Do any of us have like admin permission to your streamer? Like if you leave,
I do.
Zach
okay,
does.
Okay, Zach does. All right, cool.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me just see if I can get the
first rant I have, just so you know, is Sean Joe.
There you go,
$5.
Zach. That's the first one I got too.
That's the first one I have. So I have all the rants then.
And also, Boom Diggity gifted 10 subscriptions. So thanks.
wow.
Thank you, Boom Diggity.
Yeah. But okay, I'm gonna peace out, guys. I will see you
All
guys
right.
tomorrow on the Power Hour. So
Enjoy yourself,
get
man.
your guard tickets. Come to Vegas.
Yep.
Gonna be a blast. Don't want
Thanks,
to miss
guys.
it.
Catch you later.
Have a good night.
And people who have the virtual tickets will be able to go to the virtual wedding reception that Lisa and I are having at GART, because we're getting married right after the DPH episode.
So pumped for that, dude. What's
Yeah.
the attire? Because we were talking about this earlier on the private stream, on the GART stream.
Anybody can wear anything. Like
but, like-
the actual ceremony itself is going to be at a chapel that is like nearby, and we have like a limo that comes with the package that's coming to get us and then take us there and then bring us right back.
I'll be wearing a black shirt with a white collar.
I was gonna say, dude, like
That's
you
that's worth the price of admission right there.
I'm hoping that you're gonna wear the I'm hoping that he's gonna wear the outfit for the DPH episode.
We'll see.
John, I'd hoping you would dress like Elvis, because that's like a thing in Vegas, getting married by a fake Elvis. So like,
I could
consider it.
No.
I'll consider it.
The Reverend look is going to be money.
I'll see what I can come up with. I just don't want to be like too sacrilegious or anything.
Yeah, true.
But I want to take my role seriously as the Reverend of the wedding.
You are an ordained minister, so I don't think there's anything sacrilegious about it.
I did get asked to do a baptism.
You did,
and I said, I don't know if I can do that, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Scott check the license. Scott check the license. Did
If it goes well,
permission to do it?
You get your money's worth, man. You paid $40 for that license, right?
I mean, theoretically, you can do baptisms, but
I don't know.
I feel like you have a responsibility to marry us before you perform any other.
Definitely.
sacred
I just worry I might like drown somebody on accident. Like that'd be the last thing I want on my resume.
I mean, as long as it's a grown man, I don't know that they would allow you to keep them underwater long enough to drown them. So
I've never done a baptism before. These are the questions. Like I don't know. I don't know the protocols.
Would they let us do it in the fountain of the Bellagio?
Ooh.
I've actually
see why
seen
not.
people getting into that fountain before. So I mean, theoretically, a baptism takes like 30 seconds, really.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if you did it in a fat Elvis outfit, that would be a little sacrilegious.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this.
I like the Reverend idea.
No,
Anybody wear whatever they want to wear on Saturday.
So I mean, are we doing tuxes though? We like rocking tuxes? Because tuxes, dude, you always have the best time of your life when you're wearing a tux. I'm just saying, like that is.
If you want to wear a tux, if you've already got a tux, you wear the tux. Go
I
ahead.
just don't want to be the only guy wearing a tux, because then you're kind of a jackass when you're.
So I'm gonna for the wedding, I'm wearing a white, think like Casino Royale. Okay, white tux with the black lapels and a black bow tie. And then I actually have like a new velvet tux jacket that I'm going to be wearing at the event afterwards.
Crushed velvet.
So I can't wear white because we don't want to both wear white.
Well, I mean, you don't. I guess you're going to be
just messing with me.
Just like an Austin Powers velvet. Or are we going?
Do you want me to get my after? I can go get it and show you, or I can send you a picture afterwards.
Yeah. I'll wait for some.
Just wear the Dumb and Dumber suits. Come on.
So it's not going to be a Hispanic wedding. That's the Dumb and Dumber suits. I feel like that's like
that would definitely. I see those suits very often around where I live. Yes.
Yeah, quinceañeras and stuff like that.
Is that a popular choice?
It's a popular look amongst the Hispanic community here.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, now I'm out of here. Stop bringing me back. Okay, bye.
Bye. Have a good one.
John.
He's bringing himself back.
All right. So allow me.
I didn't realize. So like those tuxedos in that movie, people like unironically wear those in real life.
I wouldn't say quite that.
I think maybe they
extreme,
did
but
at one time.
They did. There's some bad prom photos that I have from back in the 80s where there were similar type. Well, it's probably more of a 70s look, but yeah, I've seen people actually wearing those. And in recent times, something similar, like color scheme wise, maybe not with the tails and all the top hats and all that stuff, but certainly not the style, but the colors.
All right. So let's start off with a thank you to Sean Joe. He says, there you go, Zach. Well, thank you, buddy. Grandma Bam says, Treasury door not open since March 2020. Trump, I love that chart. I sleep with it. Left office March 2020. Patrick J17 says the Salt and Sea was originally a salt mine. There was a city at the bottom of it with the train tracks. There were fish in the 60s and 70s, but the salt killed them. They were going to put a desolation P. I grew up with two brothers that grew up on the North Shore. Beautiful skiing place. It was flooded by the Colorado River. Keith O'Higgins says, when looking up lesbians online, don't focus on the vowels. Look for consonants.
Oh.
Well played, Keith.
Valesco 16.
Although searching for that term online is probably going to yield different results than what we were discussing.
Yes.
Valesco 16. If you remember when O'Keefe got fired from Veritas and started OMG, he offered cameras to anyone who wanted to do low-key investigation. I believe that's in like an ongoing thing. And then they also are like selling them for people who just want to do it on their own. But yeah, like when you go to OMG's website, I believe they still have that set up. Patrick J17 also says, if you drive down Washington Street in La Quinta, 1 hour northwest from the Salton Sea, you can see on the mountain where the ocean was 500 years ago. They say Cortez sailed it to La Quinta, seashells in the sand.
Wow. Okay. That's right where my house is, right next to that. So I will check that out.
CJ Hurley 1960. Yeah, go take some pictures and
I will. Absolutely.
CJ Hurley 1961 should go to exotic racing. Last time was there, you could drive Porsches, drive a McLaren. Is that like you go out into the desert and you do this? Because I know that there is like people who will do like, some type of racing out there in the salt flats, but that might be like in Utah or something like that.
I mean, dude, I'm totally down to go to like an underground racing situation where we are, like off the grid. Like I'm down.
I know there's like people who have like rocket cars, like turbine engines, basically. So you can just like,
the salt flats.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just don't want to be like abducted by, the cartel and sold,
Yeah. You guys want to hear something interesting? The president of Mexico. Okay. So a couple of things came out. Obviously, the cartels were officially designated by the State Department as terrorist groups. And the CIA is doing drone flights, getting like recon on them, so they could like quite literally be like missiled at any point. But
how awkward is that, though? It's like that's got to be really awkward for the guys that landed. They're like, oh, like, huh. Wow! Look, the cartel.
We were just hanging out with
right
them.
here.
It's about to get even more awkward. The president of Mexico is allegedly seeking to amend their constitution to protect the cartels from drone strikes, which nothing says I'm in bed with the cartels more than amending your constitution to protect them.
Yes. How?
Man,
and that's
interesting.
That's the president.
The president. I mean, the president.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a good look.
No.
Okay, Keith O'Higgins says, how great would it be if Trump could flip the American lexicon like an F Joe Biden into let's go Brandon, and now turn the Maine governor from see you in court into see you next Tuesday. And then he also says, if Zach went to ancient Greece with his Subaru, I'm sure he'd have no problem finding Greeks ready to rear him.
Oh.
Rave Daddy 523. please make a plant panel for Tartaria or the Mud Flood and put G Money on it because there is no way he can bring up Bitcoin.
There is.
Don't underestimate G Money.
Have you met G Money before?
Yeah.
Yeah. He could bring up Bitcoin in any context.
Hey, have y'all done the Battle of LA? I meant to ask that earlier when we were looking at LA.
You know what? I think we might have.
Those pictures are wild. I mean,
I feel like I've seen you talking about that, Zach.
I
but
definitely
it might have been on
have.
your own channel. I don't know if it was on, on Baseless Conspiracies or not. But
yeah, I know I've talked about it. I know I've shown those photos. I don't know in what context. And I thought that we had someone go back through and like label all of the Baseless Conspiracies, but like I actually don't know that that's true because I went further back or I'd looked for a specific episode and it was still just like, episode 53 or something like that. Let's see. Secrets. Zach, check out My Lunch Break channel on Rumble. Definitely a great topic for Baseless Conspiracies. So I've actually found there's a couple of different My Lunch Break channels. There's the My Lunch Break channel page. There's another one that's just My Lunch Break, and then another My Lunch Break channel page with a green check mark next to it. So I will definitely check them out, and we'll find it. Okay. Also, Nazfan also says My Lunch Break channel on Rumble has a huge amount of videos regarding previous advanced civilizations and how their architecture was so much more advanced than ours. Zach would love it. We'll definitely check it out. Thank you very much. Keith O'Higgins, when you say Raising Cane, you think Central Casting and damn good fried chicken.
Yeah,
right.
That is true. Do they have Raising Canes where y'all live?
They do. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was nationwide or regional, but yeah, Raising Canes is good.
Yep.
And then Snowcat Operator says, let me copy the link address. From Men at Work for the outro. Okay, I'll get that pulled up in my browser over here.
The movie or the band?
It looks like it's
The
from the movie.
Okay.
All right. And then I got
Ash and Bay Theater Dave are fans of Raising Cane.
Okay.
I agree with them.
Keith O'Higgins also says, John, if you assemble a panel on Subaru owners at GART, use tongue in groove application techniques.
Keith always coming through for us.
Yeah.
1027 JS says the Thing is a scary movie. Loved it. I loved it too.
Dude, Kurt Russell. I mean, I'm sold on John Carpenter, sold on Kurt Russell. I mean, obviously Snake Plissken, iconic character, but also Executive Decision, very under the radar.
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
dude,
that's
maybe I thought I was like very young, probably too young to see it, but
I don't think I've seen that.
Dave, I'm not bagging on the original Thing. I'm just saying that I prefer the Thing from the 80s. I think it was a superior movie.
They were definitely seeding a lot of stuff there. J-Tree of that movie, like Islamic terrorism,
Executive Decision,
airplanes, like all that kind of stuff. But I mean, just in a vacuum, great movie.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to write it down and check it out.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's pretty good in just about anything, I think. Nazfan also, once again, My Lunch Break channel on Rumble has a huge amount of videos regarding previous advanced civilizations and how their architecture was so much more advanced than ours. Zach would love it. Thank you again. I don't know if that's an actual repeat or sometimes Rumble will just like repeat one of the larger rants. Also, KT Schrand, thank you very much. Thanks, John, Jay, Gordon, and Zach. You guys always tell us the truth. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, KT. Very generous. Really appreciate it.
Yes, appreciate your generosity, KT.
Everyone's generosity, but thank y'all.
Yeah. And then Honeypot Hounds, I got to say, I love the name.
Yeah.
Fauci and Gates Wet Dream. Let's see. Lore Tab 10 says, I feel like I live that nightmare 4 days a week because I work at a hospital and I'm just trying to not give myself or my family members a superbug or infection. I don't know what that is in context of.
In reference to the Thing, maybe?
Yeah, the Thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, dude, like anytime you have Antarctica, I mean, that's a pretty mysterious place. It's a pretty mysterious
absolutely,
place.
man.
Like you have me sold on the mystery of Antarctica. So
Bowling Mom said sacrilegious. Hawaiian shirt with blazer, Miami Vice style. Honestly, that's like my everyday attire.
That's what I wore to my my rehearsal dinner. Was a Hawaiian shirt with a was it linen? Might have been a linen blazer.
Yeah, white linen blazer. You got to have the white linen or the white crocheted slip-on shoes too that you wear without socks.
We got married in the Caribbean, so it was
okay.
I have not gotten married, but the last time I wore a tux was to the high school prom. But I remember going to the tuxedo store, and they had a big cardboard cutout of Don Johnson in this tuxedo. They had a official Miami Vice tuxedo. It was like white pants with a royal blue, jacket and royal blue bow tie. It was kind of silly even at that time. I was thinking like, that is a ridiculous stuff. My sister and I were laughing at it. And my friend who was with us actually rented it for the prom. He thought we were kind of being sarcastic and saying, wow, look at that. That's sweet. And he's like, oh, really? You think so? And then we couldn't really let him in on it. And he actually wore it to the prom, and it was quite amusing.
I wore a leisure suit that my dad was, my mom and dad got married, and my dad wore this leisure suit. And, that's what I wore to my junior prom, and I had like platform shoes that I wore with it. It was
sweet.
Yeah, totally.
I have one of my dad's old leisure suits that I bust out occasionally.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Valseco 16. It's not Valesco. It's Valseco. Combination of my first name and Jose Canseco. BB is the only one to ever come close to pronouncing it. Well, now I won't forget. Valseco 16. Okay,
Valseco.
And then Ash says, what are realistic expectations for the convergence of the USAID money bucket narrative and the smurfing narrative? Don't glow in your answers.
I feel like now that Ash said that, I have to glow in my answer now because she told me not to. It's like my instinct is just to go ahead and glow. What is she? I asked her to clarify.
Okay.
What does she mean by smurfing? What is
smurfing is the is what Act Blue does. So they have all of these like small anonymous, well, it's not anonymous because it's done in the name of people who have donated before. So they have a series of innocuous donations that are funneled into Democrat campaign accounts, and it's done without their knowledge. So you have like a person who knowingly donates to Act Blue, like, once or twice or something like that. But then over the course of, a period of time, couple of years or something like that, someone who's on SSI or, is not basically making much money at all will donate, tens of thousands of dollars to certain Act Blue accounts or certain Democrat campaigns. And they are not the ones who are doing it, but someone at Act Blue is doing it. It's done, perhaps with like prepaid cards or different accounts that, are just not from that person, but it's done in that person's name. That's what smurfing is. I think it's highly likely that USAID money is perhaps doing that. It also could very easily be foreign money that is laundered into these accounts through the name of an American person who has no knowledge of it. The crazy thing is, because it's often done in the name of a Democrat, they seem to have no problem with it. And they're just completely interested in determining where the money is coming from. They don't care because it's money that's going to Democrats, even though it's in their name.
Right. It's their way of skirting the rules, or, and it's probably money from all over. It's probably USAID. It's probably foreign donations.
Yeah.
Any kind of illegal or shady donation is you wouldn't do that otherwise. If it was just a regular, legit donation, you don't need to launder it like that.
Could be USAID money, could be foreign cartel money.
USAID is a drop in the bucket. That's just one. That's one revenue stream.
One way.
I think one of the reasons they're putting it front and center is because it's supposed to be like humanitarian aid. Like it's done. It's done. It's like a do-gooder.
Well, that's
charity,
the big.
It's virtuous. It's virtue signaling. Monetized.
That's the big hammer that's yet to drop. Right. We know that those donations were, going to ridiculous programs, right? That sounds, the initial unveil, but then what's going to be the big hammer is when we tie it back to the, the kickbacks, that the money that was coming right back to the politicians that voted for those programs to exist in the first place.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's what I can't wait for, is when these politicians get called out for laundering the money back to their own pockets.
Yeah, I mean, so what I want to see happen, I'm so just tickled pink that they are just going all in. They're biting right on the third rail, like they're just biting right on it. They're like, "Yep, we're gonna fight back against this, and we're gonna act like this is a huge outrage that they're taking this money away, because I want to see this money exposed for the darkest, worst, most horrifying crimes you could imagine."
Yeah,
that's like, and I'm talking about the adrenochrome farms in Ukraine. I'm talking about the stories about the Russian soldiers going into that place and finding just like pits of body parts and like children chained up. And like the guy who's giving the interview just looks like he will never sleep for the rest of his life because of what he's seen. I want the money to go trace straight to that place. Yeah, because not only does that tie in like USAID and all the other, like with Democrats and all that, anyone who simped for Ukraine, it's like that is on their conscience now. Everyone, including Mark Levin, Fox News, all those people who are going hard against Putin right now, accusing him of child trafficking right now, like today, like yesterday, accusing him of child trafficking, accusing him of all the things that we suspect they're doing in Ukraine. Man,
and I was going to say something and I can't even remember what I was going to say now. Oh, I like that they're also giving them time to double down. These politicians that are screaming the loudest about USAID and they're, children are going to die and all this stuff. Yeah, it's probably that money's going to be traced right back to you. And now you've doubled down. You're in even deeper. You're digging that hole deeper. So I do love that they're giving them that little pause, before we see where the money really went.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that they're going to be specifically looking into federal employees and elected officials who have seemingly, untraceable wealth that is clearly not coming from their salary. Like,
they threw that narrative out there too, right?
Yeah,
so they converge, and then and now people are going to be able to really digest it and understand it.
Yeah. And then let's see. Ash also says Escape from New York and Overboard are my favorite Russell films. Those are also really good.
Oh,
yeah,
dude, Captain Ron. Are you like just made me think
Captain Ron's good too. Yeah,
Captain Ron. Captain Ron is a classic. Like you gotta tip your cap to Captain Ron. I don't know if what the demo is out here, the demographics in this crowd, but Captain Ron's a classic.
Let's see. Also, Roger Paul 59, the subterranean rock. Oh yeah, the Rockwall, Texas. Yeah, explained away as a natural phenomenon. Rock's perfectly aligned with no gaps. Sure, right. Oh yeah, and then don't forget about like the metal smithing and the ancient bones that were found there in the giant room. There's so much about Rockwall, Texas. We definitely did a show on Rockwall, Texas. And then Melindy says topic suggestions for GART 1 was the South right and make states sovereign again. Okay, I'll go ahead and take note of those and put that up for a future GART.
Yeah, those are good. Suggestions, Melindy. People are saying Tombstone in the chat over and over again. I would say yes, although Val Kilmer, I think, was the real Jim of that movie.
I think everybody was spectacular.
They were all spectacular, but
they were.
Val Kilmer was the standout, though, for sure.
Sure, yeah. The Doc Holliday character was absolutely iconic.
Let's see. Keith O'Higgins, Zach, you forgot to propose the location of Atlantis is Florida, as told to you by Dr. Longo. I mean, that's what Dr. Longo's theory is, but I'm more sold on the Rashad structure.
The Conch Republic is actually Atlantis.
Let's see. And somebody said Zach is AI. Definitely not AI. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to show up at every GART. And I definitely don't have
a hologram, man. It was a hologram.
I don't have a Neuralink chip either. Miracle and Tombstone. It's impossible to choose. Miracle. I don't know. Is that a film with Kurt Russell?
Is Miracle the one about the? That's not the
Miracle.
one about the U.S. hockey team.
Miracle is the one. I think Miracle is the U.S. hockey team one. Let me see.
Okay.
Never seen that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Miracle's the one.
And
the
is
US
Kurt
hockey
Russell
one.
in that?
I didn't think that was Kurt Russell. Let me
I don't
see.
think so either, but I don't know.
Leave it to
No,
the
it is.
Democrat.
No, he's the head coach. Okay, yeah. So he's
Okay,
the
he's the coach.
Head coach. Yeah.
Keith also says, leave it to the Democrats to give blue midget anime porn a bad name.
Yeah.
And then that would be it. That would be all.
So Ash asked me not to glow, so I'm going to go ahead and violate her instructions. Just to ponder. Do you think, I mean, we know it's illegal to pretend to be an FBI agent, right? Like impersonating a federal
Sure.
officer.
Yeah.
One thing I've always wondered, is it illegal to pretend to be a CIA agent? Because
I mean, that's technically
but if you're in the CIA, aren't you supposed to not say you're in the CIA? Like, isn't that the whole point? That you pretend you do something else in the federal government, like you work for the State Department or something else?
Well, I mean, depending on what your position is,
Like you don't walk around and introduce yourself as a CIA agent, right? Like the way you would if you worked for the FBI.
No, if you're actually a CIA agent that is like Peter Strzok. Peter Strzok didn't walk around, saying, "Hey, guess what? I've got like another job at the CIA."
But aren't there people at the CIA that are just doing desk work and stuff? Like, are they
definitely? Yeah,
they're not like hiding that they work for the CIA.
But,
are
like,
they?
if I said I'm an undercover CIA agent, like if I introduce myself as that, would I get in trouble for doing that?
You would not introduce yourself as a clandestine agent. No, you wouldn't. Yeah.
Are you preparing for some major announcement?
It's just a question. I'm just wondering, like if I were to start shilling as a CIA agent, like would you get in trouble for doing that? Like, would you get like arrested for doing that?
I mean, you might get a visit. I don't know that you'd get arrested, but they might offer you a job. Be like, listen, we have a position in the Middle East that's opening
I need
up.
to put my sunglasses on. You're glowing so hard, Ghost.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I like it.
So Ash says, I have no excuse. Zach is older than me. He has no excuse for what? For not knowing what Miracle is? I mean, if it was a hockey movie, I just would have ignored it.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I don't. I've also never seen The Mighty Ducks. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Really? Oh
No.
man, that was a huge part of my childhood. The Mystery Alaska. I'd say Mystery Alaska. Is that better than Miracle? I don't know. Maybe. Mystery Alaska is a great movie.
I know I've heard of that, but
it's a hockey movie.
Okay. All right.
Everybody go out and watch The Thing. That's the homework assignment.
All right. So we are now going to watch this this video from Snowcat Operator. Let me share the screen. Okay, and share this instead. All right.
He could be some crazed combat veteran.
Speaking of Mighty Ducks, Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
Ernie or Keith.
Yeah, Keith David. Yeah.
So, Lois, you're Walt's brother-in-law. That's great. He speaks highly of you.
What do you know about anything?
Walt's a nice guy. His sister must be nice, too. I've never met her, though.
When I feel like talking to you, I will look at you.
Gotcha. You write stuff about us? Sorry. This sucks.
What did you say, son?
Her name is James.
Well, James, if you expect to keep this job, I suggest you tell me what it was you were mumbling over there.
James. I said this sucks. And basically, so do you.
Well, you little. Come here. Come here. I'm gonna show you what to talk to like that. Hey, goddamn, we don't fight it.
This Lewis guy is a total nightmare. He's not playing around, let me tell you, James. Yeah, I feel really bad about that, Carl. Probably not as bad as I do.
Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that.
James, promise me something. What? No matter what you do not provoke this guy. I promise. I'm serious. I promise.
That's a great haircut on Amelia right there. Classic.
The Joe Dirt look.
How's that nose?
It's okay.
I still owe one to the intended receiver.
See, that's the Raising Cane voice.
You know, man, you were a total pain in the ass. Now, James, Lewis is going to be with us for the next couple of weeks. Accept this as fact. And why don't you guys shake hands and stop behaving like children?
Put it in the back of your neck.
There are several sacred things in this world that you don't ever mess with. One of them happens to be another man's fries. Now you remember that, and you'll live a long and healthy life.
Before we go, one other amazing Emilio Estevez 80s movie, Repo Man.
Repo Man's great
You guys-
soundtrack.
Repo Man.
You haven't
Great
seen that?
soundtrack to that
Yes.
too.
Great
Full-on
soundtrack.
punk rock soundtrack.
Great movie.
You're must be talking about the old, like that's an older
So,
man,
it's
not the newer
early,
one that
Not
came out
Repo
like,
Men
yeah,
that
yeah,
came
that's
out
what I'm
with
thinking
Jude Law
Jude
and
Law,
Forrest
yeah.
Whitaker.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. All right, you guys, thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight. And don't forget, you can still get your virtual tickets to Guard 7 in Las Vegas at badlandsmedia.tv/events. And maybe you can join us. Otherwise,
Yes.
we're
gonna be a
we're
blast.
done. That's it. It's
If
been fun,
if you're
guys.
in the area, come party with us. If you are not, sign up for the virtual ticket and let's see whether or not it turns into a black tie affair. I have a good feeling it's gonna be a black tie party.
It'll be a black tie affair.
I think people are gonna show up in the tuxes. I think it's gonna be a classy event. So
Yeah. Before we go, I just want to check and see if there's any. Yes, Country Girl 007 over on Pilled. Thank you very much for the cookie. And Okie7 over on Pilled. Thank you very much for the shades. Do appreciate it, you guys.
Thank you.
hit the thumbs, guys.
All right. Please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the red pill. And make sure you're subscribed. And we'll see you guys next time.
right.
Let me
Have a good one.
just do the outro and then we're good to go. All right. Peace.
See you guys.
Later.
Oh, there is no outro.
Oh, well, that's very anticlimactic.
Yeah,
Maybe-
it's extremely.
Wait, John doesn't have one uploaded?
He doesn't know. He doesn't have one uploaded for this show. Let me find something appropriate. Lots of gays, lots of retarded clips, lots of dementias.
Lots of gays, huh?
We could say the Pledge of Allegiance.
God, so much Office. I still just don't understand the allure.
It's not the
of
Cheers. The
Office.
Cheers. We usually play the Cheers theme. That's not there.
It's
The
not.
Cheers,
oh,
Cheers theme should be there.
Here it is.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. care.